we took Andy's advice post reunion, and we sat down one-on-one, solo, no one around, no distractions, and we sort of just rehashed it out, and then started talking about boundaries, like what do we want going forward. There's a lot of things that when you're on television, like you're talking behind my back, and I don't want that to happen. So we kind of like made promises to one another, like if that is going to happen, because another like that situation where I talked to Paige and then Paige told Lindsay and it just blew up. I didn't want that again. So it was almost kind of like, if we're going to move forward together in this, and I do want this, let's just like make some promises to each other, set a little boundaries, and see where that takes us. And it took us to a really great place. There's a lot of moments where I'm just like, are we moving too fast?
Right. I want to gab. All right, today we're gabbing with Danielle Olivera from the current season of Winter House, as well as, of course, Summer House, which will return to Bravo early next year. I first interviewed Danielle during the second season of Summer House, and it's been honestly just a thrill to watch Danielle's profile continue to grow on Bravo and beyond, and also just get to know her even better personally over the years. And Danielle, we always have the best interviews, and I'm so happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for this, especially because it's new.
It's new, and I was thinking back to our last interview, and we both literally cried during it. And so I think there are much more positive things to discuss this time.
I don't know. The pod is young right now. We'll see what we get into.
It is. But I feel like you are in a much more positive headspace right now, and that just makes me happy to see. So, just wanted to this is going to be a different vibe, I hope.
Light. Let's keep it light.
Right. Oh, well, there are some tough topics to talk about. So, okay, first, but I do want to say, first, let's do a wellness check. Obviously, this season of Winter House is winding down. It's been quite a doozy. You just filmed the reunion, which sounds like it was also kind of a doozy. How are you holding up? Where's your head at right now?
I'm good. I mean, I'm great. But the thing is, I think I remember talking to you even before Winter House started airing. And I was like, this is going to be the best season. It's so fun. Like, I'm fun on it, whatever. And then you see it, I'm just like, huh. But what I choose to remember is different than I think what you might think I choose to remember. I'm not going off of what drama is being shown. I love every single person on that cast, and I still do to this day. That's not going to change. Like, I really loved our time together, and I really had the most fun. Whatever is shown is shown. I was disappointed at times to see some things. It's always hard when you're on these shows and you see what people say behind your back or in a confessional.
Right.
That's the hardest part, but I really did have a great time. So I'm living in that space.
Good. And so it sounds like you're not letting whatever was the quote unquote drama around the romance stuff, that didn't overshadow your experience for you, and you're not letting it.
No. And what bothers me, I guess, the most is that it feels right now that it did. And it really, really didn't. Like, I had a fun, free, sexy time. And yeah, there were some moments, and I think the new word about me is cringe. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be cringe than a lot of other things.
I completely agree.
That, I mean, I feel like I'm not ever edited. I never edit myself on these things. It's completely raw. And so, I mean, should I dial it back sometimes? I don't know. But then I feel like that wouldn't be
it's not
true
it's
who I am on TV. Like, it's just
right. And I also think that I hope that you're not letting any of the commentary get to you also, because it's sort of like, if people are kidding themselves if they think that they would not also, if they've never acted in a similar way or been kind of emotionally entangled with something and not really been sure how to feel. Like, we've all been there, you know what I mean? And so I think yeah, it might be hard to watch, and it might be cringe, and it might be that's what is being shown from you a lot in this season. But we've all been there. We've all felt those things that you're feeling. And I think to me, it's like reality TV. It's supposed to reflect the human experience in some capacity. And you're supposed to
more human than that.
That's what I'm saying.
Feeling so hurt and disappointed, and that things are going on behind your back and you don't know what it is, but your intuition is telling you that. That's what I felt in that moment. And it was driving me a little bit crazy because I didn't know fully what was going on, but I still wanted to have fun. And I didn't want to bring my other like castmates, roommates into it. Although I end up doing it, but
Some
like,
people, right?
because it's just like, I was like, I need a pulse check. I'm like, am I crazy to
Yeah,
think this way? And so that was really rough, but there were so many more fun times that to me, I thought outweighed that, but you only see kind
good.
of outside.
But that's your experience, and I think you should hold on to
Yeah.
that regardless. So okay, you said going into it that you felt you were in a pretty good headspace, that you were sort of ready to hook up with other people, and like it seemed like what you genuinely wanted was to just have sort of like a fun fling in the house and to like get it in and like that just be what it was. But I feel like, or I guess first, like, do you looking back and watching it back and upon reflection, do you feel like you were ready for that, or do you feel like you wanted to be more ready than you were?
I think I was fully ready for it.
Okay.
And it wasn't that I was like wanting someone in the house. It's just like just kind of how it panned out once we went to the bars. And I was like, this
Hmm.
is gonna be harder than I thought out here. So like I think I was ready and I was in the right headspace. But I wasn't like I wasn't gonna just be so cool that you can be disrespectful. Like I'm not that cool, but I'm never gonna be that cool. That's just my personality type. Like I'm always gonna be a little bit like, are you disrespecting me?
You're gonna stick up for yourself. You're gonna stick up for yourself.
Yeah, that's how my mother raised me. And like I don't think that's ever gonna change. I'm not gonna be that cool ever, no matter what is happening to me in life.
So what to you was the disrespectful part? Was it Alex sort of playing games with you and toying with you? Was it the Jordan
Yeah.
factor? What was the disrespectful part to you?
I think it was a perfect storm, right? Because I went into this with Jordan and we were so happy to be single and we're friends. And I was rooting for her to, get it in too.
Right.
Um, I think a lot of that got I said things the wrong way and kind of made her feel a certain way, which wasn't my intent. My intent was for her to get her mojo just as much as I was getting mine.
Hmm.
Um,
It
and
just so
since
happens that that same guy sort of was there for both of you to
Yeah, but she
have
was not
sparks with.
interested in him. So like I just wish she had built a wall up a little bit or a boundary when she knew that we had been hooking up.
Okay.
And then from that point forward, I wish that there was just a little bit more like a girlfriend component there where I'm just like going to shut this down no matter what. And she just did it. She kind of let it keep coming. And that's what I didn't like. And then of course, Alex, it was such a roller coaster of mixed signals and
Hmm.
hot and cold. And there's things that he was doing that weren't shown that was like, kind of feeding into me and him being together, like not
Yeah.
together, but hooking up. And so it was just a perfect storm of all of this stuff. And I feel like at the end of the day, I was the one who was played a fool and that no one
Hmm.
likes to feel that way.
No, definitely not. I have one very specific question for you. In the most recent episode, there's that moment where they're talking in the hallway, and it seems like you overhear him say something pretty
The
mean
worst.
to you, yeah,
Yeah.
to call you the worst, which was very unfriendly. And
Yeah.
Andy asked him when he was on Watch Happens Live if he thinks you actually heard that, or if that was sort of like they made it look like. Did you actually overhear that comment?
Yeah.
Okay, so you actually overheard that in the moment.
Not only can you hear things in that house pretty easily, I know it's huge, but their body language was very telling as well. And again, I'm a very intuitive person and yeah, a classic overthinker. So I was I was in tune with what was going on.
Right.
And there was no one was around for those kind of moments. So then when I get heated, everyone's like, whoa, where is this coming from? Can't believe that's happening. And I'm just like,
Yeah, and it's like there's too much like saying to explain and give context to it. Totally.
yeah. And
And
I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but then I end up being the Debbie Downer and it's just a whole thing and it
right.
implodes in my face. So yeah.
And on that same Watch What Happens Live episode, he basically said that he thought you guys were good going into the reunion taping and that you kind of came in and he was like, wait, are you mad at me? And Katie sort of stuck up for you and we're like, well, she probably had just watched the episodes before the film, before you guys taped the reunion.
Yeah, we got four all at once, you
Right.
know.
So is that what was your mindset going into the reunion taping when it came to him? And I guess what are we going to see you guys sort of figure it out there?
I was hurt. I felt like betrayed. I thought that I was friends with Alex at the root of everything, even if it were like we were just a fling and we understood that there was a beginning and an end. It was just vacation.
Hmm.
But at the foundation of all was like to want to be friends
Of
going forward.
course.
And I thought that we were. Friends don't treat friends like that. And so he likes to say I'm a lovely person, all these like nice things about me, but I think that what says more about you is when I'm not around or when someone is not on a podcast and, filming you do that. When you were doing things behind my back, that was way more telling than anything else.
So it's really all talk, I think. That was what I'm picking up from you a little bit. From he's saying a lot, but he's not backing it up when it really matters.
When it really matters,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm just that person. And maybe I'm trying to learn through this and maybe expect different things out of people.
Right.
Not everyone is going to want to be my good friend or treat me the way that I think that I should be treated. I just think that I'm still going to command a very, certain level of respect, but not everyone is going to, want to do right by me, and that's okay. And I'll
Right.
just put them in a different box. And so
That's a learn.
that's why we're going to be friends. Everything's going to be fine. It's not that deep. It really isn't. But in that moment, I had just come off watching 4 episodes in a row
Yeah.
of that, and I was like,
Listen,
God damn it.
anybody would feel some type of way about that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I liked seeing that you and Jordan just did this Page Six event together. So it seems like you guys are at least on a road to, if you haven't already figured it out, to figuring it out for your friendship going forward. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. I think that again, I don't want to harp on things that happened months and months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And again, lesson learned. I think that if true colors are shown, I'll just receive that, understand it, and just move on. There's nothing to hash out. Like at the end of the day, nothing is that serious or that big that we can't just have a fun time together.
Totally.
Best friendship, I don't know, but I just think that I would like to believe that there's still something there between Jordan and I that we can, move forward in a really great way.
I see it. I love both of you individually, and I feel like you in some ways you approach life similarly, I think. I mean, I've interviewed both of you several times, and it's sort of like it seems like you see the world in a similar way, I think. And so I hope that you can find that, because I think that I love both of you. So obviously, Danielle, that we're talking about this sort of something that happened back in earlier this year, but you're in a different place romantically right now with somebody who I love, Joe Bradley, who I just had on my podcast from Southern Hospitality.
I saw.
Yes, you two connected in Vegas at BravoCon. It seemed like you had fun. He supported you at Watch What Happens Live in New York. You just got back from Charleston, which was like a fun weekend. What's the status to you guys? Are you just having fun? What are the vibes right now between Danielle and Joe?
The vibes are high. They're really, really good. He will be back in New York for my birthday week, which is starting the 18th, that whole week. So a week from now.
Love.
We have decided we're not seeing anyone else. So that's
new.
yeah. And yeah, we're seeing how it goes, but we're both very excited about it. In this world, a lot of things move so fast. It's almost like you want to hit the brakes a little bit, make sure, that we're good. But it's hard to when you just like magnets want to just be around each other all the time.
Right. And you've been through this before where you kind of go public with a relationship or some sort of thing, and
I'm also no stranger to moving too fast. Let's
listen. Right. And again, none of us are. Right. But it must be hard to sort of ignore a lot of the excitement from the fans, and Andy Cohen is on Watch What Happens Live talking about it, and it's people are tracking your every move at this point. So it's sort of I understand what you're saying. It's sort of let's just keep it natural and flowing the way it should flow.
Yeah, but I will say some of our best moments just hanging out, just us two on a couch. So
Right.
I know that,
which I love.
at least we're good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, to help us switch gears a little bit to Summer House, I'm curious, like, so one of the things that I've seen, if you like click on the Winter House hashtag, which is a tough place to be, I think,
Oh,
for
I
anybody.
never done
I
that.
don't
It's
think you. I just went there just like as a preparing for this interview, and people love to play armchair psychologist, as you know. Just generally, people have to do that, and some people were connecting sort of like this what we've seen on Winter House of like you and Alex, and sort of how that's played out to last season of Summer House and how you reacted to the engagement and Carl and Lindsay's relationship. Are any of the underlying feelings there, or like what you were going through in life, are they connected at all? Like, because I think the your previous breakups was sort of happening around last fall. So is any of that connected, or like in terms of the
I think
feelings?
I think if you ask any of my friends who are not on television, this is just who I am. On
Got it.
television, there was times where like I was way more shy. I was way better at kind of like being a little bit more behind the scenes, not really in your face a lot. But like I do, like I'm a late bloomer in a lot of ways, but now I'm way more comfortable just putting myself out there and
Hmm.
being exactly who I am. I'm sorry if that doesn't bode well for a lot of people. I'm unhinged, I'm crazy, I'm cringe, or whatever it may be. I think at the end of the day, I'm not afraid to be human. And the people who are going to love me are going to love me. And those are the ones that will get it. And those who don't, don't. And I just feel like I'm okay with that. Um, I hate being misunderstood.
Of course.
That does bother me, but I am the correlation is correct because I am this person there. That is a very real side to me. I'm the first to tell you how it is. I'm very direct, I'm very emotional at times, but I'm okay with that
You should
because
be.
underneath all of that is a really loyal and really good person. And if I can still wake up and look at myself in the mirror and be okay with the bitch that's looking back, like I'm good. And I
Good.
feel
And I think that's a similar realization to what we were just talking about with the Jordan situation. It's like you're not necessarily going to be friends or liked by everybody, and that's a kind of an adult realization, and a realization of being in the public eye, definitely. And I think that's a really healthy thing to like try to accept too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
do I want to be well liked by the masses? Of course, who
of
doesn't?
course, who
But
doesn't?
you can't win them all.
Yeah,
And just if I were to take all of this feedback and change, I think that that would be doing myself a disservice, my friends a disservice, and honestly, the show itself a disservice. Like if
yeah,
you want me to be that person, I am that person, so I'll be
right.
it.
There we go. So it makes me obviously very happy that you and Lindsay are in a fantastic place right now. And, it's I had talked to both of you actually separately going into this season. And I just it makes I mean that's part of the reason why we got emotional last time we talked
Yep.
in a recorded setting, because it was really I think it was a really it was everyone was kind of hurt, and like it was a tough thing to watch and to hear about. What are we going to see on the show in terms of you two rebuilding that friendship, rebuilding that relationship? Because obviously now it's in a great place, but at the beginning of filming, it was in a more precarious place.
Yeah, it was. But we took Andy's advice post reunion. And we sat down one on one, solo, no one around, no distractions. And we sort of just rehashed it out and then started talking about boundaries. Like, what do we want going forward? There's a lot of things that when you're on television, like you're talking behind my back, and I don't want that to happen. So we kind of like made promises to one another, like if that is going to happen, because another like that situation where I talked to Paige and then Paige told Lindsay and it
Yeah,
just blew up. I didn't want that again. So it was almost kind of like, if we're going to move forward together in this, and I do want this, let's just like make some promises to each other, set a little boundaries, and see where that takes us. And it took us to a really great place. There's a lot of moments where I'm just like, are we moving too fast?
right. Another through line, Danielle. We're learning a lot from this interview.
Yeah, like are we moving too fast in this? But the heart wants what it wants.
Yes, yeah, and I love that. How do the other women in the house play into that? Because I think that, myself included, I think a lot of people were heartened, but also surprised to see how, I mean, you guys were all out to dinner together, and it's sort of like some of those individual friendships felt
Yeah.
particularly far-fetched. I mean, I think if you think about Lindsay and Paige at the reunion last year, it's like, whoa. So
But I
it
think that that's what needed to happen.
got it.
It's not that like the entire house had to burn down in order for it to happen, but like it kind of maybe did.
Hmm.
And it felt like we were all starting from scratch again. It was a weird, cool feeling. Like, okay, what was said was said. Let's leave it at the reunion. Let's, finally, let's leave it at the reunion.
There's
Let's
nothing
not,
more that can be said almost, basically.
no, everything has been said. If you're like, you're going to not like some things about each other, but like, hey, but like, there are some things that you do like about each other. So let's move
Yes.
forward with that.
I love that.
A lot of things felt brand new and light,
Mm,
really, really light. Like that
mm.
kitchen, it's never felt lighter.
Love.
People actually wanted to come downstairs and like hang out.
They weren't hiding in the rooms this year. Okay. Love
Exactly.
that. I love that. We've gotten a lot of Lindsay's side of things, and the public has as well. And at the Page Six event, you said that Carl has his side that you don't fully believe or buy, but that other people
Yeah.
have other people have like see a point in it. Basically, was the quote. Obviously, we're probably going to see some of that and hear some of that from him. But from your perspective, what's like the gist of his side, and is it that vastly different from her side?
I can't say too much on his side because quite frankly, I'm not on it. I'm nowhere near it.
Right.
But I can understand that like Amanda's in a tough spot, right? Navigating
Hmm.
Kyle's relationship with Carl and hearing a lot more of Carl's side. I drew a line in the sand, so I don't get Carl's side. I'm not Switzerland by any stretch of the imagination, but there are points that I feel like that Carl's not that kind of guy that would just blindside. Do I feel that that's true? No. Um, but I think that I'm going to want to watch it as well because there are these two sides, and then somewhere, I don't know where,
Yeah.
is the reality is. And so, I've been accused of blindly taking Lindsay's side before. I don't think that this is that time. I think that I'm
It's
more
informed.
yeah, I more understand what's going on over there. But I do think that, Carl, just said, one of my good friends just passed away. Carl was really nice to me. So I can't really hate on the guy too
Yeah.
much. He does have a heart and he was my friend for a number of years. I don't want to believe that he is that guy that would hurt someone so
Same.
so intentionally.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
There's a side that says it wasn't so malicious and it wasn't so intentional at that time. He didn't really know what he was doing at the time he was doing it. That's the only thing that is that gray that people might be living
Yeah,
in.
it's like up until you've known him as this good person with a good heart, and it's sort of like, how does he get to this point of doing this, basically?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Um, you guys were in the same place at BravoCon. Did you have to cross paths at all? Did you have to speak at all, or was it just sort of, okay, we're going on this panel together?
With Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Watch What Happens Live one, we were in like the same like green room.
Holding area. Yeah.
Yeah. And, there was a moment where he was just like, hey, Danielle. And I was like, hey, Carl. And it was so uncomfortable. It was so awkward. And, I'm just like not very nice sometimes. And he was wearing this blazer, and on the back of it was, that graffiti, like that
Yeah.
cool thing that he and so I just made sure to remind him that the last time I saw him in a blazer like that was when he took Lindsay to prom. And
Mm,
I was like, I had to, man. And he was
tough.
just, he's
Tough.
like, I deserve that. I deserve that. Because like,
Yeah.
I can't play nice. I might as well just like break the tension like with a machete. And so I did.
Mm. And I think that's one of the reasons why people love you. You're
We
willing
laughed
you're
about
willing to
it, and
do it. Yeah,
it
you're
was
willing to do it.
wonderfully uncomfortable.
Yes,
So
yes. Well, Danielle, it sounds like this upcoming season of Summer House, we're going to see a lot again of positive direct. Like you're going to be moving in a positive direction with friendships, and we're going to see you build your business, which I'm really excited to hear about because we've been hearing about it, and I think we saw that you filmed at the launch party. What can we expect in terms of that personal journey for you? Because I think when you first came onto the show, it you were the person who, worked at a bank and you had the really intense job and you've really broken out of that in a really, I think, welcome, really cool, inspiring way.
Yeah.
So tell me about sort of what we can expect from that this coming season.
Um, a lot of great conversations with Lindsay included. A lot of part of our friendship that I wanted was for her to ask me more questions about what was going on in my life. And
Right.
there's that, which I really appreciate. There's, leaning on like Kyle and Paige and asking their advice. There's talking to my brother, my mom, like a lot of vulnerability surrounding going out and risking it all, not
Hmm.
having a safety net. Certainly, it's it's scary. And I put that out there. I'm single, I'm having fun, but at the end of the day, what's the most important is, my baby, my company. So there's going to be a lot of, just vulnerability. And I have a great conversation with Chris Leone, who, that's he gets it, being a minority that's trying to do something in the fields that we try to do them in. It's hard, it's hard to break through. So there's going to be a lot of yumminess like that, and then a lot of rallying and support for me, which I loved.
That's awesome. I love to hear that, and I can't wait to see the Winter House reunion, this season of Summer House, and again, just I feel so grateful to be sort of front row seat to your whole journey. So thank you for taking the time today, and I always appreciate your
Thank
candor and
you.
vulnerability, and I can't wait to talk soon.
Wait, we didn't cry. This is
We
such a
didn't
win.
cry.
Good
Yay for
us.
us.
Yay.
Yeah.
All
Danielle,
right.
thank you
Love
so
you.
much. Yeah, I love you too. All right.